Howdy, it's Matt, and would you like a spoiler for what's in this video? Let's take a quick look. Right, if I've been and got your attention, let's jump across to the workbench and unbox this beast because I was genuinely impressed. Howdy, I'm Matt, and I do believe that this is the first one in the UK. Now, this box is absolutely massive, and of course you can tell by the background and the state of my desk, I've done absolutely nothing to tidy it up, and it's still a mess. So with that said, I'm here trying to get in the box. Mr. Parson Force has just this second been and turned up. I've ripped the labels off the front so we can open it up the right way round. And this is the Mars. Now, I spotted this on AliExpress of all places, and I have not seen anybody else with one at all, and frankly it looks really interesting. Now it is, well, I was going to draw some comparisons to, I'll tell you what, while I'm talking about that, there's the fact sheet. I was going to draw some comparisons to the Atom RC, and again it's a little bit awkward because this box is so big. So the Atom RC Dolphin is a firm favourite of my model. Out of all the models I got at the moment, it's definitely a firm favourite for FPV. And with that said, this one seems to have an awful lot of positives and to be a very, very similar setup. So this has given us a hint on there. Looks like they've got bays for the receiver and the VTX and VTX out in the wings. Spot for a GPS on there. Going to be really curious on this motor section back here. And it's called the Mars Sweatback Wing. And I'm really looking forward to it, in short. It does look pretty straightforward to get together. Now what I'm going to do, because this box is so big and I've got so little desk space, we'll put bits of it up on there and we'll take a look at it as it comes out of the box. So the first thing, tons of stickers. Not entirely sure whether I'll be using the stickers or not, to be brutally honest, so we'll put those out of the way. Some models I have and some models I've not, and I'm not too sure how the red sticker is going to do with my normal colour scheme, but we'll see. So anyway, all that chit chat, let's get this in and we'll start taking a look. It's not, whoa the hell. Whoa, let's just get to the really big bit. There was me taking the wings out of the box, and then I took one look at this and went, wow, that is way bigger than I was expecting, in short. This is, right, so very first impressions, this really is much, much bigger than what I expected. I knew that it was going to be a 1.2 meter wingspan, so we were definitely going to have some issues of seeing it here on the desk. Taking a look at the mould, and this is, it's EPO foam, which we've got here. It's too thick, and also, I don't know if you can see the density on the foam. It looks like it's quite a high density foam, because A, it's very stiff, the foam itself, and also the actual holes, the foam bubbles themselves are very small compared to other models, and it's not particularly heavy, which is quite a surprise. I know with the Sonic model, Not Very Pro, A-Wing Pro, by the way, there's a video coming out of that one very shortly, and I'm kind of spoiling it because it's just so heavy, it's ridiculous for the size of the model. Whereas this one is actually quite light, all considered. I do have a scales, but it's here somewhere. Anyway, we'll have a look at the wings in a second. Let's get in here and have a nose. Half decent magnets, loads. Let's open this up. So we've got, whoa. Okay, so we've got 3 bays in here. So obviously flight controller, ESC, we've got 2 fins on there and a huge great big battery bay. I've been doing some laminating here, and I did have a ruler out here on the side somewhere. We'll have to do it in inches because that's all I've got here at the moment. The battery bay is, what we're going to say, 9 inches long. by, at its shortest, about 4 inches in there. You are easily, I mean absolutely easy, you're going to get several 5200 4S packs in there without a problem. Lion packs also not a problem. There's the industry standard 5200 4S. Stick that in there, tons of room. You would get at least a pair of those sat in the front. Definitely Lion batteries are easily inside of there too. I have just noticed that we do have some hardware and we do have ball linkages in the bag. That's always nice to see. A bit of Velcro, some vents. Oh, looks like we've got a GoPro camera mount to go in the end. Don't really use GoPros very often. And we do also have some little fins. I wonder where those go. Now, just putting this back together, nice for us to see is that we do have some ventilation in there and not too much ventilation. Is a theme which has definitely been overdone recently. And that these lids are clicking to the front, so they are always being blown down, and good magnets as well. Middle bay, huge great big middle bay. We'll use that one as a rough on there. We'll say 5 inches by 4 1/4 inches wide. Huge, lots and lots of depth in there. You'll get every flight controller going, in short, in there as well. There is the spacing for the standard flight controller, but in my case it will be probably a 3D printed mount or something which is put in there and then held down. Good magnets. Now looking back here at the ESC bay, decent size ESC. You would get what we got in there. There's a standard Hobby King 40 amp ESC. That's going to fit in there easily, and those of you looking to completely overpower it, I reckon you'd easily get a 100 amp ESC in there, and that's the standard RC brick ones. Now the only one bit which I don't like about this fuselage is this rear section, because that doesn't feel like it's not going to blow out, but those magnets aren't as good as those ones, so, and they are right on the edges as well. That's not the best fit which I've ever seen, and I think it's down to this part here needing a slight trim on the back of it, because the fitment is not fantastic there. So yeah, that, I think what I will end up doing is probably using a servo control arm, and I'm sure, oh, there you go, I'll show you, use a real life example. I'll probably end up using a servo control arm like I did here with the Atom RC Dolphin, just to make sure that lid can never come up, and I'll end up doing it, not all of them, I know I'll end up doing it. Very, very simple to do, simple hinge on there, and there's no chance in hell that that lid's going to come off, and that's exactly what I'm going to end up doing with this one. Taking a look at the underside, two nice great big skids on there. That's what those two foam pieces were in there. That makes it straightforward. We do have some holes up underneath, so that's where those we had some long bolts in there, so that's where the bolts must go through to hold the vertical fins in there. We do have some marking on there, it's fair enough. And looking at this front center section, yeah, that's injection molded, not 3D printed on there. And we do have some square holes in there, so look, we're expecting the nose to go on. One thing which I didn't really like with the, I say don't like, I just worked around, the nose on the Atom RC Dolphin is that if I take that piece of tape off, you'll notice how easy that was just to fall off, and of course I got a piece of tape underneath as well. Does mean that if you could change the camera mount over very easily, but it was quite a concern even with their supplied magnets, so I have put some tape on the top and the bottom, and of course I got a Runcam hybrid 4K on the nose on that one, so I don't really want to lose 90 quid's worth of camera. Anyway, first impressions: foam, high density, not too heavy, well molded until that section there, which is a small item, and I think it just needs an extra bit of finish in there. Oh, we do have a little GPS. Something I have just noticed just there. Does that come out? Yes, it does. Aha! So they do have a square back here. I only noticed that tiny little arrow on there for a GPS module to fit in there, and to be honest that would make sense. It's far enough away from the ESC and the other components. A more typical place would be here or on the side, but I'm happy with that. It's close to the flight controller and it's far away enough from the ESC, although there are places which could be much further away. So next curious question is wing spar. So we have a round wing spar and we have a little tiny hole there, and it does look like we have some wing connectors, potentially some power connectors to go on the side. I didn't see that as being an option on the kit itself, but let's get the rest of this box open. Now what you're not seeing is that while the parts are not double boxed, which we would always like to see, is that there are some huge great big chunks of foam around these parts, so they do look like they've been well protected. There's another huge great big chunk of that styrofoam stuff to keep the parts semi-safe during transit. So, oh, these wings are thinner than what I expected. I'll just chuck that there so you can have a nose while I'm getting the other one unwrapped as well. Again, first impressions, really nice moulding on the foam. It's definitely a high density EPO foam, that's for sure. It is nice and stiff, and I need to put that up to the light. Right, so there's a spar going across there. There's a nice little bay on the end, which is of a decent size. We have got the servo, again, nice thinking about moulding as well. Once you've got your servo in there, they have spent the time to be able to get in there to make manual adjustments to the servo control horn as you like. We've also got that little skid in front of that. Again, I know manufacturers they like to put the servos on the bottom so aesthetically they look nicer on the top, but in reality the servos are always better when they're top mounted for two reasons. One, servos are stronger in the pull motion, and most of the time you're pulling up on these surfaces. Number two, they don't get hit, so that having that little bump in there does protect the servo control horn. The servo hole is too small. They're always too small. I'm fine with that. We can easily cut that out with a craft knife. They have been included double plastic control horn there, and it has been threaded through a square carbon fibre rod through there too. Now the surface itself is still stuck. I'm fine with that. You would be fine with that because it would be very quick to separate with a craft knife or just a blunt screwdriver if your name is Matt to break those free. They do need trimming up, and the actual hinge itself is perfectly acceptable. In short, but I am still quite amazed by the quality of the foam. I do like this. That is rather excessive, I would say. The bay here, you could have got away with half the size of the bay in there. That does give you plenty of wiring options, so things are going to be a little bit easier sorting the wiring out when it goes into the wing. And again, nice bit of plywood. 4mm plywood. Oh, that's what that hole is in there. So it does look like they have designed this so that we do have a main spar going through. We do have the ability to use a multi-connector if you want to, and on the end we got a threaded bolt in there. So these wings you will be able to take these wings off and make the model transportable. So with all that said, let's get the spar in and start putting this thing together. So, ooh. Nice little touch there. You'll notice that that's a recess section that goes in there, and it's literally keyed in there. My only bugbear really, besides the front nose to the Atom RC Dolphin, which you may or may not see me doing some episodes on, was the quality of the wing fit. The moulding just here was not very good at all, and the back of the wing wasn't particularly good. Now this wing is leaning down a bit, but I think, to be honest, by the time you got that thumb screw in there, that's going to hold it out straight. And also, I've got to be brutally honest, I'll probably just end up laminating the whole model as a whole anyway. This thing is getting remarkably big very quickly. I am genuinely surprised by the sheer size of this. I knew it was going to be a 1.2 meter wingspan model, but look at the size of this. And it does remind me of a seagull. Now, I want to put that out there, which is that seagulls are very aerodynamic animals, aren't they? They've had, depends on your beliefs, but they've had a very long history of evolution to go with them. Taking a look at so this is for all intents is a V-tail. Again, nice moulded. We've got the servo mounting in through the top. We do have a spar going through the vertical fin. We do have that control horn, which has been mounted in the foam, and it goes through the spar and the actual surface itself. So nice rigid moulding in there too, and put those in. So this is going to be a 4-servo setup. I say this is going to be a 4-servo setup. That is for the control surfaces. Obviously, if you're going to go on and your name's Matt and you want some pan, maybe you want some tilt going on the nose, you might do something like that. So those are some little 180-degree servos, which I've got the FPV camera mounted on the top. So on this one, I do have a forward-facing camera at the very front, and this one, it actually goes 180 degrees, so I can turn around and see the back of the model flying. Very, very cool view. So you can imagine it flying like that, and you can see that view in the camera. I do like that a lot, so I'll probably replicate something similar up here on the top of the model so that we're able to rotate all the way around and then look right out onto the wing and all the way back. And I bought about 6 of those 180-degree servos, so I have no excuse not to do that, because I do have a collection of them. And I know somebody will ask me about them. That's the 180-degree servos which I bought. I do note that you will need to change in your transmitter the ends on there, because if you just plug it up as a normal normal servo, it will only move 90 degrees. You have to extend the ranges. So if you're not using a flight controller, you have to change it in your transmitter and extend those ranges. Or if you're using iNav, you need to change it from 1000 down to 500, and then up to 2000 to 2500. Excuse me, to extend the range so it does do a full 180 degrees. Brilliant. Moving on, there's 2 items left in the bag. So what have we got in here? There's like 2 different noses. Ooh, so what have we got in here? Right, we've got 2 magnets and 2 rods, and we saw the holes for those on the nose. Oh, that is nice. That is nice. Okay, I like them already. So rather than sending you a moulded front single piece nose section, they've actually sent us where we can mount a camera on the top and a camera in the nose and in 2 pieces, so we actually get the choice to do this and the ability to do it. One of the bugbears for the Atom RC Dolphin was that it was all a bit of a faff in there to get the board in there for the camera, sort of for that Runcam hybrid. This is going to be super easy. And also, just thinking out aloud, is that rather than gluing these 2 piece parts together, it would be very simple for me to tape these 2 parts together, so that maybe getting the memory card out at a later date would be an option too. Just me thinking out aloud for that. I do like that it's in 2 parts. Yes, it does mean it's potentially more work for us. However, on the flip side, I do like it because we've now got options. And the other option, which they have been included too, is, if we open this up, is, oh look, they've they've included a built-up nose. So this is already glued together for you, and if your name's Matt, you're going to put multiple FPV cameras on here anyway. Is that you could have the camera on the nose, or if you didn't want that, you could glue or tape that piece in, put this on the front, and then mount your rotating camera on the top of here instead. So you've maybe got a forward-facing FPV camera on 180 degrees, and maybe another back here, or maybe on the wing, for example. And let's get this up and get that stuck in the nose. So there's no editing in this. In fact, there was the only editing in there was for one of the camera alarms which kicked off, and I've managed to knock that on the end. Get these wing bits back on, and there we go. Right, this is way bigger than I expected. This is gonna I really must get around to tidying my desk up. Right, this is definitely bigger than what I expected. It's a really decent sized wingspan. I will run across to my desk because I do have a tape measure. I remember that was on my desk now. Climb through the box. Wingspan from wingtip to wingtip. We are talking 1 meter and 22 centimeters, or those of you which are in America, 4 feet is that wingspan. Each wing themselves from the drawing is approximately 20.5 inches, or those of you which are metric, 52 centimeters. So each wing is basically half a meter, over half a meter, and the length of the fuselage without the motor on the back is approximately 32.5 inches, or about 83 centimeters long. Oh, and of course I can do a better job now when it comes to the fuselage. We are talking 9.5 inches long by about 4 inches wide, 3 inches wide at the smallest point, and I would say about 3 inches deep too. The middle bay, we did have a quick look on there, yeah, 4.25 by 5, and then at its shallowest point we'll say 2 inches, and at its deepest point 3 inches, and of course the ESC bay at the back is mediocre in comparison. Now the only one thing, and we do have some little fins on here which reminds me of somebody else's model, but let's not go there. Oh, that looks like fins for the pull-up surfaces, so they've been included some extra ones. We have got, let's take a closer look at these. Yeah, oh look, we do have proper plastic covers to go over the pieces underneath, the bays underneath. That's fair enough. Now the one thing which we have not seen in this kit, and I'm just going to make sure I looked over them. So those are the fins to go on the bottom. That's fair enough, and I'll put that in the nose. So, oh, by the way, the other option on the nose was to mount up a GoPro in the nose, if that's your kind of thing. Not my cup of tea, but hey ho. And the reason why the GoPros are not my cup of tea is not because they're bad cameras, they're just really expensive, and I have a long history of smashing up cameras. So I just try and keep away from them. The one thing which we don't have, and it's not in the kit, so I'll highlight that, is the wing connector which came with the wings. Now I didn't see that as an option. What am I talking about is, if I can pull this wing off, is that you can get, and I may yet steal the connectors. One of the benefits of having a very untidy desk is that you've still got parts on your desk from a previous build which you still haven't even got around to doing. If I get in here, I wonder if these are exactly the same things. If these are exactly the same things, I'll put a link not only to this model in the video description, I'll put a link to the listing for a other model which I've got over there, a twin engine motor model. And yes, you can pick these up for about $9 for a set of 2, so 1 for each wing. And I reckon these are going to fit, so I don't know which way around we're going to do this. Is that going to fit? Oh, no. They're different. They are very, very similar. So you'll see that it's got a flat bottom and then 2 little tips. You would need some slight modification on here. Now, in reality, is that a bad thing? Yeah. Is it? No, it's more of an annoyance because, well, is it a problem for you? In short, if you're going to be like me and you're just going to laminate the whole model, in short, and the wings are always going to be kept on the model, that's absolutely fine. Okay, not having the wing connectors, and I'm making a bigger issue out of this one. It needs to be, but I kind of make it. I'm trying to see both sides of the bench here. Is that it would be nice if something like that was included, or at least an option. It may have been an option in the listing, and I didn't go for it. That said, these are about $9, so we'll say 12 quid including delivery. I'm taking a guess on that because I bought these were an option separately with the other model which I've got over there. And you could set them up on there. If you didn't have these wing connectors, or you didn't want to use these wing connectors, you could very easily just run servo connectors through here, because at the end of the day, all you're going to have is a receiver and then either a video transmitter and a servo, should I say, and the wingtip, and maybe an FPV camera, and you can do that just with using servo connectors. So is it a big thing? No, not really. Would it have been nice to have seen included in the kit? Yes. Is it a big problem if it was actually included in the kit and Matt didn't actually pay for that extra for that item? Probably not. But those wings do sit on there really nicely. That's the third time I've put these wings in, and they really do key in there really, really nicely. So, with that said, that is the Mars first impressions. we spoke. Let's start with the negatives. The two things which I perhaps don't like is we didn't get the wing connectors, those plugs included, for the reasons which we literally just discussed. And I don't think that back canopy back there is the best in the world. And to be frankly honest, I'm not bothered about it. There's a bloody great big airflow hole in there. And if we take a look on the back, so the ESC is going to get plenty of airflow. And there is an exit hole up its bottom, just there. Now the one curiosity is the noise of this model. Now, I was trying to summarise, and we were about to exit, but there's one other thing which I want to point out here, is that that is going to be a very recessed motor, so your propeller is going to be about, put this upside down, your propeller is going to be about here. That's a lot of extra area here where you're going to get a lot of prop noise. So I can probably already tell you that I am going to extend that section out and put the plywood plate right here on the back, so extend that somehow and then get the motor extended back out so it's in more free air. Now let me just show you what I mean by that, and we'll quickly talk about why you would want to do that. Is so you'll see here with the Atom RC Dolphin, you'll see that I'm using these motor mount extensions, and again I'll put a link to those in the video description, is that does mean that the motor is further away from the tail of the model, and it does increase the efficiency because the propeller is in cleaner air, it's not right up against the back of the model, and number two, that does make a faster model or more efficient model, and B, it cuts down the noise as well massively. I know with the right ring mini track is that when I first had it turned up is that it was extremely noisy to the point I really couldn't fly it where we were flying it before, and I turned the motor mount around, extended that out the back, and it cut the noise at least in half, and it made it 10 miles an hour faster. So, quick observation there. The rest of it, really, really nicely moulded foam, and I'm just oogling at it off camera. And the wingspan is way bigger than what I expected. And the other thing to remember is that yes, the wings themselves are 50 centimeters long, or whatever that was in inches, but don't forget the whole bottom of the fuselage is one great big lifting surface too. So this, I am 100% expecting this thing to be one great big kitten in the sky for sure, because it's got such a large lift area underneath it. Is that yes, the wingspans are 50 centimeters, but you've got this whole area underneath the model as well to keep it up in the sky. And I do like that nose section, and I do like that they've given us two options for the nose, which is I've literally just realised you could also run the front of this model if you didn't want the more aerodynamic nose and you wanted to run the GoPro. That's where the GoPro would sit in. So there's you put your GoPro in there, and that would then sit up in there, and then that's what you get the GoPro in the nose. If you didn't care for aerodynamics at all, you could put your FPV camera in the back of there. Okay, so that was the piece which was already moulded. We'll stick that up in the nose. There you go, so that's how it came out of the box. So you could fly it like that if you wanted to, or if you've got an ounce of common sense and didn't want a great big brick camera in the front of your model, is that you could put this nose section on. And I'm not going to complain about this nose being fiddly, because I don't want it to come off. And if it's going to sit in there, there you go. It's just an alignment thing. That is very, very super slick. Right. I was trying to summarise and got myself deviated a couple of times. I don't make any apologies for that. I've spotted some things in there, and I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of yourself if you are thinking about buying this kit. Those little things which we do identify on the first time we spot the model. And talking about the first time we spotted the model, those fins which we had inside of there, looks like those fins go up there and up there, so we glue those fins in, so we got some fashion fins to go on the top of the vertical stabilizer. Now, just a quick note around iNav, and those of you using Flight Controller, you would basically set this up as a mini Talon. That would be pretty much like for like for a mini Talon. You've got your ailerons on here. Remember, this is not a flying wing. Okay, these are separate ailerons on there, so it's just like a mini Talon. You would set these up as ailerons because that's what they are. Don't get confused by the shape of the model itself. And you would set that as, you would have your elevator and your rudder, if you so wish, in the rear servos too. So you're going to need 4 servos, and you're away, a decent size ESC and a motor. Now that is a curious one. I am tempted to go slightly bigger than normal with the motor on the back of that one, just because of the sheer size of this model. But that said, I still reckon a mini Talon motor, the 2216 1250 kV motor with an 8x6 prop, should be plenty powerful enough to keep this one in the sky. Or you could very easily go big and go home with a whopping great big motor on the back. Now, I know someone's going to ask me, so let's get the tape measure out wherever it is. The motor mounting square hole at the back is 4 centimeters, so about 1.5 inches. It's more like 40 mils square at the back. No, we're slightly off. It's 37 millimeters by 40 millimeters, almost square at the back. We have plenty of cables in there, so that would fit a standard size X mount on the back of there. Okay, right, time to wrap up. If you have any questions or comments about this model, please let me know in the comments section underneath this video. For absolute clarity, I bought this model out of my own money for my own use. This was not sent to me by the manufacturer or Banggood or AliExpress or any places like that. I bought it because I saw it come out. I thought, wow, it's really cool. Like I said, with the Atom RC Dolphin, really have enjoyed that model. This one reminded me a lot of that, but actually now it's been on a ride. It's a very, very different model. It's infinitely bigger for one, and actually the foam and the moulding on it is a country mile better. I will include links to not only the model over on AliExpress and the listing which I went and purchased it from. I won't go into exactly how much I paid because I did buy it the first time and then the seller worked out that they weren't going to make any money because of the shipping, so I had to pay more. I'm not going to complain about that because I want sellers who sell the items to make money at the end of the day so we can go on and buy foam. Okay, so I won't mention exactly how much I paid for it, but it was more than what I first paid for it because they cancelled the first one. Okay, but I will include links to AliExpress where I bought it. If it's on Banggood, I'll also include a link to it there as well. I will also include a link to those power connectors. If that's a thing for you, if you wanted those connectors like we spoke about on the wings, it would have been nice if they were in the kit. Like I said, I'm not referencing the AliExpress listing right now, so it may have been an option in the listing. If not, they're only like I said, I'm 90% sure they were $8.89 off the top of my head over on AliExpress. So by the time we include shipping to myself here in the UK, it's probably going to be about 12 quid. It's not the end of the world, and actually probably not a bad idea if you are going to be taking this model apart because it is pretty big. Those of you looking for a backpack model, this fuselage is huge, but those of you which will be are looking to break this down, it would be very, very simple not to, if you don't have those connectors or didn't want those connectors and just want to use servo ones instead, that's what I'm going to do with this one, okay? I am just going to use servo connectors in there. That's going to work out absolutely fine. Remember, these wings are going to be held on with the thumb screws which were included in there, and we also did have those bay covers as well, not only for the bays out on the wings, which I love to see, but also this bay section here. And remember, the edges were turned up too, so they did actually spend the time to think about how that was going to get moulded and put on the model itself. So there we go. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me here at the desk. If this is a model which you're interested in, like I said, I'll include links to this in the video description here on YouTube. If you're new here, howdy, I'm Matt, welcome aboard. I make absolutely no apologies for the state of my desk at the moment. I've had multiple builds going on here, and I've got another brand new build coming in, and I can't wait to get this one to fly. And the reason being, it looks absolutely brilliant. I don't even think I'm gonna laminate it per se. I might put some laminate on the leading edges. I think I'm just gonna get this one ready and then just get it out there and get it flown because it does look super, super cool. And like I said right back at the beginning of the video, I think I'm the only person in the United Kingdom who's been and got their hands on one of these so quickly, again, because I paid this literally the day I saw it come out. I bought it straight away and missed a parcel force no more than whatever the length of this video is ago. went and delivered it here. So there we go. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe, and the reason why I'm saying that, because the next video is quite likely to be the maiden of this one. And on that note, a big thank you to you for taking the time to join me here at my very, very messy desk. For absolutely no apologies for that. We've been building left, right and centre, and I've got a new chunk of foam. Really nice quality foam. I don't know if you can see me straight, the tendon is in my arm squeezing down on that, but I'm not holding back, and I am really squeezing that foam. Super dense moulded EPP foam for sure, which we've got in there. So I've and googled and I don't read enough. I need to go and get this one built. So on that note, for myself, Matt, cheerios!